Hey, what's up? In this video, we're gonna do some stuff. Hey, so just to kind of catch up with where we are right now, I've got my grandpa's bike over there, fully assembled. It ran just great and then started having carburation problems. There's something weird going on with the needle and seat in the float assembly, and I'm not going to deal with that right now. The fact is, it's a runner, and that's something that can get ironed out at a later date. It's fully assembled, it's ready to go, so we're done. We're just going to call that good. And now it's on to the actual project that all these video series are dedicated to, at least for now. So just kind of bear with me as I'm going to be doing a lot of things. And this video, frankly, is going to take quite a bit of time to bear out. What I'm going to do starting off is the swing arm bearings are seized. And, as I rode the bike, I never knew. Everything was fine. It handled really well. So it didn't impact anything detrimentally speaking, but I'd be dumb to put the bike back together with those things in there. So
yes. What? You don't say.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat up the area around the bearing with my heat gun. And then I've got a slide hammer here that I got from Harbor Freight, which, by the way, if you ever have to replace any bearings on your bike, I would highly recommend getting one of these. There is the information, and it's item number 62601 from Pittsburgh. And it does really good. It was not that expensive. And as things are at Harbor Freight. So if you're looking for some way of pulling bearings out of your bike, whatever the bike may be, get you one of these. It's definitely a necessity on a Buell, in my opinion. There are definitely some different ways to get the bearings out, but this way works pretty darn good. Adding heat just makes the whole thing easier. You do not have to use heat to get the bearings out, but that's how it is. It just works much better. Given that the swing arm is aluminum, it should heat up rather quickly without heating up the bearing at all, and I should be able to pop that right out. I don't know how many hits it's going to require the slide hammer to pull out, but we'll see. So let me go ahead and get started, and just for the sake of your sanity, I'm going to put this in time lapse. All right, so there's the end result. And here are the bearings pulled out. And now that I got them out, that one feels pretty good. This one is a little bit crunchy. So this one was probably salvageable, but it would be kind of, I should probably go ahead and replace that, I could go with the ain't broke, don't fix it mentality, but given that it's kind of hard to get to, probably a good idea to just go ahead and replace that. Again, I don't feel anything wrong with that bearing. It moves freely. There's nothing weird, but this one's definitely got some crunch right there in that area. So I don't know if you can hear that. So, all right. So that was pretty much it for that little segment. Let's move on to some other things. Okay, so in this particular segment of the video, I'm going to be working on the frame mostly, and maybe the tail section. I'll probably end up mixing and matching. As I get burnt out on one thing, I'll probably move to the other. Don't worry, I'll let you know what I'm doing. Maybe, maybe you should worry. So Let's talk about paint real quick. So I am still looking for paint. My buddy Mike Lowry, I'll link his channel up here for you so you can go check out his really awesome bike. He found an activated single stage in a rattle can for the Buell. Same color, factory color, etc. Same kind of paint. And given the wear characteristics, etc., that the paint will have to endure, that's the primary choice, unless I can't find it. Or I can't afford it. I don't really know how much it's going to cost. There are also some other hiccups with activated single stage. It's hard to know exactly how much I'll need. And that's a fact. It would probably take at least one can, full can for this tank to get basically full coverage. The nice thing about the perfect match on the color is that you won't notice if I've missed something. But that's not ideal, right? So I also found this particular engine paint from Duplicolor that I painted that engine with. And that was almost a dead ringer for the old Kawasaki color. And so I thought, wow, that's really cool. And I noticed that the color was like really, really close to this color. And I bet you can't tell where I did some painting on this thing. I don't even remember where I painted it, but it is, I did just spritz it really quick to see. I can't tell. Now that you can't say, well, that's the spot right there. And I sanded some right there. I know it's in that area, and that might be it. But I bet you can't really totally tell, because I can't, and I'm staring at it. You're looking at it through camera. Your eyes are going to be different than my eyes right now. So that's good news, right? If I can't afford or find the other one, I've got this as an option, as an engine, this engine enamel with ceramic. So I can tell you it holds up pretty good. This is gas and oil resistant, which is good given that this is going to get gas sloshed all over it whenever I go to fill it up and things like that. It's high heat resistant because it's engine enamel. This thing gets blooming hot given that there's a nuclear reaction going on between the two frame rails there. So in the rear swing arm, you know, it does get hot. Not like this, you know, central area right here gets hot.
Right here. Not here or here so much, but right here.
Nope. Ship shape.
But it does get hot. And, you know, it's pretty warm to the touch. So this is a good thing in that I can get that. It's affordable. These are like $10 a can. And it also has, yes, my garage is a mess again, okay? I've been working. Give me a break. Anyways, it's got a clear coat that does a pretty good job. So I'm just saying, we might, you know, we got options. And I like to have options, especially good ones. It's not a craptastic option. All right, so let's talk about filling this up. Oops, sorry. Let's talk about filling this up. I want to show you what I got. Albatron. So this is a metal-filled epoxy compound.
You don't say!
This stuff is supposedly not prone to expansion and contraction like you see on some other putties that you would use. Given that it's an epoxy, it's going to be relatively stable. Now, there are definitely two different molecular structures going on here.
You don't say!
Those have aluminum in it to help with, I guess, part of that expansion that we're talking about. And epoxy does do a very good job of resisting those kinds of, you know, a lot of expansion. So from what I understand, the older vets used epoxy on some of the body filler and things like that to avoid the problematic expansion that you and contraction you get with fiberglass bodywork. And I am, of course, talking about the old Corvettes back in the day. So it is a proven compound, or whatever, chemical, I don't know. Anyways, whatever you call that stuff. So that's what we're going to be using to backfill this large crater in the side of my fuel cell area of the frame. And that's going to require quite a bit of work. Prior to that, though, you may have noticed that this thing is covered in crud. So I have got a lot of work ahead of me to clean all that off. And then I'm going to use some Scotch-Brite pads, scuff everything up really good, and then try to clean it up again in preparation for doing the epoxy. And then I've got to work that all, and this is probably going to take several tries with that, right? Because I think that stuff's kind of liquidy. It's not going to be like a putty like Bondo would be. It's probably going to kind of slurry. I don't know. It's going to pour in there. I'll probably have to find a way to get the frame up on its side and stabilized. I'll probably use some padding and stuff like that between those jaws, and then very gently vise the frame into that area and get it all leveled out. Fill that up, and then maybe build some dams out of, I don't know, tape and things like that to build it up to the extent that I don't have to do a ton of work to form it. It is going to be a lot of work. This is. I mean, you might say, well, dude, it'd be easier to go ahead and pull that out. You're probably right, but one, I don't have the tools to do it. And two, if you haven't noticed, we're on a bit of a budget doing this, as long as it's taking me and all the parts I keep talking about buying and stuff like that. So it is what it is, right? You may have also noticed that I got the steering stem bearings out, which, by the way, were utterly seized. Let me show you these guys. That's amazing that I felt no restriction in the steering of my bike. Nothing. There was nothing weird, nothing funny, no crunchiness, no sticking, nothing. That was in there, right there. And let me tell you, that took some serious effort to get those bad boys out. I kid you not, it was no joke. Slide hammer, nope. I tried everything to get those things out. And let me tell you, my dad put me on this stuff. You're going to laugh. You're going to say, no, there's no way. I'm telling you, yes way, dude. This stuff, I've got to get more of it. It's hard to find. I haven't found it locally. So if you know where to find Superzilla, the Green Wonder product, let me know if you know any main, like chain stores that sell it, like, maybe AutoZone or O'Reilly's. I'm, speaking strictly to the U.S. Based stores. Advanced Auto Parts, CarQuest. Oh, CarQuest is gone, isn't it? Anyways, I tried all the lubes that I had, and heat and more heat and swinging and, just going crazy. Oh, the other part of the problem was, oh, by the way, let me show you this. Oh my gosh, I'm kind of getting out of order. I apologize. So the steering stem itself was actually seized inside of that. I could not get it out. So I'm whacking on this, trying to get it to move. It will not move. And I'm actually getting concerned, I'm not going to get this thing out because I'm throwing heat at it. I've got my heat gun going. I end up using my propane torch trying to heat up, which is not a good idea. It isn't. So because it's a fuel tank, for crying out loud, but also, the fuel's drained out. It's been airing out for a couple months, but I don't want to do any damage to the coating inside the tank. There's a lot of reasons why I wouldn't want to use propane on that, but I could not get the blast things to move. So one night I realized, oh yeah, I've got this Superzilla stuff. Well, what's it going to hurt? And so for any of y'all wondering, that little hole right there is where you can spray lubricant into that area. And so I did. I sprayed some of that in there. And I flipped it up and down. And then I went inside. And around, that was probably around 6 p.m., 7 p.m. at night. And then the morning after, around 10 a.m., that came right out. So I am very much sold on this stuff. I don't know what's in it. I don't know what they're using. I haven't read the ingredients, but it's green. So it probably comes from corn or something like that. Very cool stuff. So if you can find it, get you some. I promise, at least you're hearing it from me. I'm telling you, this is good. Obviously, I'm not sponsored by them, or I'd have tons of it laying around. All right, so let's talk about what I just kind of showed you here. Let's look at that. How does that look? Does it look pretty good? Because I think it looks pretty dang good. And that was sprayed with that. I figured, well, what's the harm in spraying a couple parts down with that paint, given that the match is so close, no one's going to notice. I thought, well, I'll just go ahead and go for it. That was the result. And I got to tell you, aside from my mistakes as a, extreme amateur painter, there's like a couple runs underneath here. So I'll have to be careful painting the frame. But that turned out pretty good, I think. What do you think? Lie to me, okay? Put your comments down below and make me feel good about myself. And then here's the upper part of the triple tree. What do you think of that? Not too shabby, in this very humble opinion. So, when I tell you I'm satisfied with what I'm seeing, I'm telling you, I'm satisfied. So, before anyone disses on the fact that, well, this is, engine enamel, I don't know. And so this paint here has roughly, it's going to be what, 2005. And if you saw this bike when I first got it, if you go back and look at some of the old, well, just go through the playlist. Go to the first videos that you see on this bike when I first bought it. It was not very pretty. And it had been sitting outside, obviously sitting outside due to the rust on the bearing. The bearings were shot. There's discoloration on the anodized parts. Some of the, the blue anodized components were sun bleached, and the other side that had obviously been sitting outside of the sunlight were, still looking good. Matter of fact, oh yeah, here's the fork knuckles. So you can see that's the side that obviously didn't get any sun, and that's the side that did. You can see those turned out pretty dang well. Again, pardon my mistakes. And you're probably going to be hard pressed to see them. I can see them, but they don't bother me. That is an inclusion in the middle, and I didn't want to use any body filler on that, so I just left it. But they look pretty good, right? I mean, again, lie to me in the comment section below. So, hey, this is good. All right, back to what I was saying. So 2005, this paint's got all that weathering on it from sitting in the sun and the cold and all the other things. And blue jeans rubbing up against it, which you can't really see much here. Maybe we can see some on this side. Yeah, well, no, you can't because I sanded it. Well, there used to be areas where you could see where, jeans and pants have been rubbing up against it for a number of years of riding, maybe even just me riding it. And obviously there's stains, oil stains, and, gas stains all over the swing arm. So it has seen better days, and it's done a very good job. And that's the beauty of single stage, is that it's such a durable paint. But, I already made my point about that. So if that can hold up to heat and resistance, wear resistance and things like that, I think we'll be good to go. Let me know if you have an experience. I have painted frames before not with engine paint, but with, rattle canning and, an old vintage motorcycle frame before and stuff like that, bicycles and all kinds of stuff. And it held up just fine. What are your thoughts on this? Am I just totally wrong? I need to stop where I'm at and I need to just bone up the money and get the activated single stage? Let me know. Help me to help myself. What I'm going to do is get all the body work done and then do all the prep that I can, and then we'll do a full separate video on just, I'm pointing at the paint, but painting all these parts. I think that's enough for now. We'll go on to the next segment.